Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Today, I want to talk real quickly about this interesting trial with this guy, Kyle Rittenhouse. Apparently, Kyle Rittenhouse is on trial for shooting a bunch of protesters last year, and you might have seen what's going on with that case. A lot of people are talking about it. And if you're talking about it, I want to talk about it because I think that there might be some things to talk about. So I'm going to give you the quick Dr. Boyce breakdown on the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and kind of give you some perspective on it and kind of let you know very politely why I truly just don't really give a fuck if he goes to jail or not. Now, let me tell you why I don't care if Kyle Rittenhouse goes to jail. Now, just as a reminder, let me show you guys on screen. Those of you on Instagram won't see this, but those online those who are in drboycetv.com, you'll see it. But give me a yes or no if you know who Kyle Rittenhouse is and if you've been following the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Give me a yes in the chat if you've been following, what's been going on with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse is a very funny looking, chubby looking white dude who doesn't even look gender specific. He looks like his name is probably Pat. You ever see that SNL skit where they have the character named Pat and everybody tries to figure out if Pat's a man or a woman and nobody knows. And she gives these ambiguous answers. Well, that's kind of what Kyle Rittenhouse reminds me of. He looks a little pudgy. I read up on his background. He's bullied. His mother actually had to get a restraining order or some sort of court order to protect him from bullies. So he's an interesting dude. And let me tell you what happened. So I watched the video very closely. So Kyle Rittenhouse, we should call him Pat, right? Because he's a funny looking little dude, right? So Pat goes and he decides he wants to back the blue, and he becomes overzealous Trump supporter. He becomes a crazy Trump guy, right? He gets carried away with politics, just like I tell y'all not to do. He did the opposite of what I tell y'all to do. He basically got carried away with this Democrat Republican nonsense. I told you guys, stop getting carried away for Joe Biden because this man don't care about you. Stop getting carried away for Donald Trump. He don't care about you either. So he got all pumped up. So he showed up. So Pat shows up to a protest in Kenosha, where I guess that's what happened with your brother, the boy, Jacob Blake, who got shot. And so he shows up and he's packing an AR. Now Pat I shouldn't call him Pat. Let me call him by his real name, Kyle. That's it, Kyle. So Kyle shows up with an AR, and he's basically doing something that I don't honestly think is that bad. He basically stood guard and protected the businesses. I told y'all, look, people run around here burning down buildings and throwing rocks through windows. If I have a shop in the city and you're busting my window, I'm going to show up I'm going to be ready to bust a cap in your ass. Like, seriously, no, I totally understand any business owner who was like, no, you don't bring that stuff up in here. You take that shit down the street. You bring it to my house, we're gonna have a problem. I totally get that part, right? I get the idea of defending your property. Now, what I don't understand is, and then maybe he's just feeling extra patriotic, but I don't understand why you would be going to another city to defend somebody else's property or defending the honor of Donald Trump, which is pretty much a guy who doesn't have any honor. Let's just keep it 100. So Pat shows up. Kyle Rittenhouse, we call him Pat because Pat's that gender ambiguous character from SNL where you can't tell if it's a man or a woman. So Kyle shows up with an AR, and I watched the video. I watched the clip of Kyle in the middle of the gunfight. It was really interesting. He's on trial right now because he killed a couple people. And if you've watched the video, I encourage you to watch the video real close because it's graphic. I mean, if you can stomach watching someone die, because literally somebody really died in the video, it doesn't bother me, but it may bother you. In the video, you can understand why it's a complex case because from what we saw, this dude's running down the street. He's running away from protesters, and there are people chasing him down, throwing things at him, and proceeding to come after him. Now, personally, I'm gonna tell you the truth. You got an AR-15, I'm not gonna really chase you down the street unless I got a bigger AR, right? Unless I got a bigger weapon, I'm not gonna chase somebody down the street. They holding a gun, and so he kept it real with them, right? And to me, this is something that is a reality you have to face. I think that what was interesting with the protests was they got to a point where it almost seemed like they got a little cocky, like they really thought, and this wasn't really on black people. I don't think black people were really down with all the Black Lives Matter stuff. Some people got carried away with it because they didn't know any better, but the smart black folks were eventually figured it out and said, this ain't really us. Like when they tried to bring that stuff to Detroit, where all these random white people from out of town suddenly show up, with trucks full of bricks and shit. They said, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. This is not of us. This is not, you're using our pain for your benefit. This ain't nothing but another form of racism, another form of white privilege. It just comes it just comes in the skin of a Democrat as opposed to a Republican. But we don't want a part of this. We want our communities to be treated with respect, but this is not what we want, right? So they pushed them out of Detroit. But so all this was happening, and it almost seemed like in the summer of 2020, they got people so pumped up that they thought they could just do anything. They really thought they could just, run down the street, bust windows, burn down buildings, throw rocks at the heads of cops, and nothing was going to happen, right? And if you want my theory on this, it was all done. It was all created. It was all contrived. They did all this because they were trying to win an election. They were manipulating people's emotions to win an election. Because remember, at that very same time, they're telling you that you have to socially distance. You shouldn't go out because of the pandemic. Pandemic. We're all going to die. Next minute, they're encouraging you to come together in massive packs, in crowds where you're right next to each other, giving each other coronavirus, right? Allegedly, right? And that's suddenly okay because now we're trying to win an election. So we don't care if you get the virus when we're trying to win an election, but we did care when we were trying to win an election. So at the end of the day, it comes down to them getting votes and getting money. That's what all this is about. That's why you never saw me get too carried away with this. I could see right through it all, but I understand if you got carried away, if you're young and you don't understand, I get it. I didn't understand the game when I was 25 years old either. It took me some time to understand the patterns of how these folks operate. So Kyle Rittenhouse, he looks like a dude. Let me just tell you like this. My dad was a cop. My dad was a cop for 20 something years. And I know a lot of cops. I've seen bad and I've seen good when it comes to cops. I do not believe in the idea that cities are better off without cops. And I believe that I'm correct in stating that. And let me tell you why I believe I'm correct. If you go, give me a yes or no. Has anybody noticed that if you go to Philadelphia or Chicago or New York, you have a spike in violent crime now? Has anybody else noticed that? Give me a yes or no if you have noticed that. I know in Philly, I got a lot of loved ones in Philly. I got family in Philly. Philly's like a second home for me. I have people in Philly that have basically said the homicides are off the chain, that you can't go anywhere and not expect that you might get killed. Right? They're going to funerals every other week. It's crazy. Chicago set a new record for the number of homicides this year. Over 500 and something people. I want to say it's probably up to 600 by now have been murdered in Chicago. We are at an all-time high of homicides in Chicago. So here's what I'm saying to you. Here's what my point is. Look, if you're into the Kyle Rittenhouse trial for entertainment, like you're watching a Dallas Cowboys game or something, I get that. But at the end of the day, this idea that somehow locking up Kyle Rittenhouse is going to keep black people safer just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. It's not. Ain't black people. Nobody's going to be safer if Kyle Rittenhouse goes to jail. I don't think he did not give the impression like he was somebody that was just looking to bust a cap in the ass of a black person. I don't even know if his two victims were black. I don't know. It looked to me like he was a crazy Trump supporter who got overzealous, who showed up with an AR. They tested him. I don't know if you could say he passed the test or failed the test. I guess we'll know after the verdict comes, but they gave him a test and he tried to pass the test by saying, oh, you don't think I'll squeeze this trigger? Let me show you. And therefore people are now dead, right? The other thing about Kyle Rittenhouse that's interesting too, is that because I know cops, one thing that I can tell you, and this is what's putting you in danger. I'm going to explain this to you. Cops have psychological profiles for people that apply for the police department. Kyle Rittenhouse was the kind of guy, in my view, that I would be willing to bet you that most cops would say he does not need to be on the police force. He does not need to be on the police department, because what the police department tends to attract, my dad used to talk to me about this, is they attract a lot of kids, a lot of people who were bullied as kids, right? Who basically say, if I get a gun in my hand, ain't nobody ever going to bully me again. I'm going to be able to handle my business. I'm going to be able to become the bully. Right. So a lot of times the person who does the bullying is somebody who used to be bullied. So on the psychological profiles, they tend to exclude, from what I understand, I'm not an expert, I'm not a cop, but this is what I picked up from talking to cops. They exclude the Kyle Rittenhouses from the job pool. They say you should not have a gun and a badge because you're going to abuse your authority because you've been abused your whole life or you've been bullied your whole life, and now you're going to become the bully, right? So Kyle Rittenhouse, remember, his mother filed a court order to stop him from being bullied. So basically, he's the guy that got the AR-15 and learned how to shoot because he's basically saying he don't want to get bullied again. Again, I show you his picture. He looks like a punk. He looks like a dork. He looks kind of he looks like he's a transgender. Damn it! I'm being honest with you. I mean, look at him. Look at that those chubby little cheeks, that little baby face. And this dude's up here trying to be hard, right? The people that try to be hard are the ones who are usually the softest, right? So Kyle, so this is what put you in danger. Let me explain why all those protests put you in danger. Because of the Kyle Rittenhouses of the world. See, when you allowed, or whoever, when they encouraged people to go around and just talk mad shit about cops and hate cops no matter what, when they trained little black children to hate cops no matter who they were, when they trained you that police are always bad no matter what, you forgot one fundamental fact. This is a fundamental reality. When something goes wrong in your life and somebody's attacking you, you're going to call the police. Let's just keep it 100. If somebody's raping your wife, you're going to call the cops if you can. If you can't stop it. Somebody done kidnapped your child, well, you're going to call the cops. So my thing is that this whole time I've been saying this since the beginning, this whole idea of like, we're going to disband the police, defund them and obliterate them, and cops are terrible no matter who they are. Well, let me tell you what happens. When I talk to my friends on the force, you know what they told me? I'm talking about good brothers I've known since kindergarten. They've said to me, they said, we can't get black people to stay on the police force anymore because their family has been trained to hate them. We can't get black people to apply for this job. It's a good job. It pays well. They don't want to apply because everybody thinks cops are always evil. They said now even decent white people don't want to apply for the job anymore because they don't want to deal with the stigma of having to put your life on the line for people that you don't even know, and then having people like cuss you out and call you names because they throw bricks at your head and all this other stuff. It's like when the soldiers went to Vietnam and they came home, you done literally been in the middle of firefights, you got PTSD, done got your leg blown off, and then these assholes are calling you a baby killer. You baby killer. Well, get your ass out in the middle of the damn jungle with a damn M16 and you fight. Seriously, most of the people who talk like that are people who ain't never really been through nothing. Like, seriously, the people who are always about it, ready to go to war, ready to shut it all down and talk the most crap are the people who ain't never been through nothing, who've never had to fight themselves. They've never had to. That's why I believe, for example, that the United States should never, ever be pushed to go to war unless the people who've been to war vote in favor of them going to war. The only people that should be allowed to send your soldiers, your sons and your daughters to die should be people who have put their own lives on the line for this country. These little pansy ass congressmen who would never send their own kids are the first ones to say, we got to go bomb them. We got to go kill them. Send in the troops. Stupid. So I circle back to the whole issue with the cop thing. Because we didn't have balance, here's what happened with your police. This is why Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia, a lot of major cities have record homicides this year, where there are parts of Chicago now that used to be kind of safe, where you go there, your wife might get carjacked in that part of the city. It's because they have basically made it toxic to want to be a police officer. All the good people are not applying to be cops anymore. But people are still taking the job. You know who's taking the job? The Kyle Rittenhouses of the world. The assholes of the world are the only ones who want the job because they don't care what you think. They don't care if you think they're a bad guy or a good guy. They just want a badge and a gun. The idiots, the people who are not competent to be police officers, are the ones who are becoming the police officers. And a lot of them are laying down on the job. A lot of them are saying, look, I'm not going, and I don't know, I don't care who you are. If I told you to go out here and get in a police car and put your life on the line to defend people you don't even know, and then have them be mad at you after the fact, would you do that? I know I wouldn't. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting anybody on a pedestal one way or the other, but I'm not trying to go. I'll put my life on the line for my family. I'll put my life on the line for the people I love. I'm not gonna put my life on the line for strangers. So I think that with the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, what's interesting to me, and I hear it, I get it. I hear LeBron and everybody else, they're kind of mad about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. But here's the thing. It's symbolism, man. It's symbolism. Putting Kyle Rittenhouse in jail ain't going to change the fact that over 500 and something people died in Chicago from homicide this year, and you don't give a shit. You don't even care. You're not even paying attention. You can't tell me that Black Lives Matter to you when your own people are dying by the boatload and you ain't even paying attention because you worried about what they're trying to do with this little white boy over in Kenosha. I'm not saying that he should be found innocent. I'm not saying he should be found guilty. I'm not saying he should be locked up. I'm not saying he should be released. I'm just saying I just don't care. The only reason I care is because some of y'all care. And I'm trying to encourage you to care about the right things. If Black life matters to you, then do the things that are going to preserve Black life. Seriously, if Black life really matters to you, then why wouldn't you stand up and be concerned about the fact that hundreds of your people just died in Chicago alone this year, that they set a record? These are little babies being shot. Little babies are being shot in the street, and you ain't got nothing to say about it. But if a Trump supporter pulls a gun out on a protester, you don't even know if these protesters Kyle killed were Black or white. I don't know. I got to go look it up. But seriously, because he's a Trump supporter, you get all riled up. But if somebody in your own damn neighborhood shoots a little 7-year-old, you don't even talk about it. Well, it'd be racist to talk about it. Well, you know what? If you're killing my children, at the end of the day, fuck you. I don't care what race you are. I don't care, Black, white, green, whatever. You're not my friend. You are my enemy. He killed only white. So I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not telling you what you should think about Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm not telling you any of that. Right. And if you're white and you're in here, I don't know what your opinion is. I don't care what your opinion is, to be honest with you. I will just say at the end of the day, there's nothing about the Kyle Rittenhouse case that speaks to a racial issue to me. It was one white boy shot 2 other white people at a protest that was pretty much running control by white people, but Black people happened to be involved because they always use your trauma, your pain to pursue their agenda. The Democrats do it and the Republicans do it, and some of y'all fall for it. Some of y'all get caught up in it, and I'm not getting mad at you. I'm not making fun of you, but I'm telling you at the end of the day, watch my words. Ain't nothing going to change in your community because you get caught up in all the symbolism and you get distracted by things that don't actually matter. The Kyle Rittenhouse case ain't nothing but entertainment. I am curious to see how it turns out. I mean, I saw everything. I saw him crying on the stand. I saw all of that. And I'm going to tell you like this, at the end of the day, if somebody was in a Black neighborhood and they were tearing down Black owned businesses, and I felt inspired to go and defend those businesses with a gun, if it was a Black Panther, but Black Panthers would have done the exact same thing. They would have picked up an AR-15, stood in front of a Black owned gas station and defended that gas station. And then if somebody ran up on them and they got shot, I think that your opinion would probably change. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I know personally, I would totally get it. I'd be like, yeah, you were defending your property. They tested you. Sounds like you passed the test. That's it. That's what I see. But again, I'm not, I don't have a horse in the game. I'm not really going to celebrate if he gets convicted. I'm not going to celebrate if he gets acquitted. It's a non-issue for me. What's an issue is the fact that if you go to Chicago, about 600 people have been murdered and you have not even talked about it at all. You have not even shown any concern about that at all because you're focused on the wrong things. If they had been killed by Republicans, you would give a shit. But because they were killed by people that look like you see right through it. But if a bunch of Trump supporters had come through and killed 2 Black people in Chicago, you would be talking about it all over social media. That's a little weird to me. That's a little misguided, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to give you my thoughts. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Also, I have a podcast on Spotify called The Dr. Boyce Breakdown. So feel free to look it up, thedrboycebreakdown.com if you want to go sign up. And God bless you guys. And good luck. I hope that whatever the verdict is, whatever you want the verdict to be, I hope you get your verdict because I truly won't care. I'll be thinking about Black people actually dying. That's what's going to matter to me, not this other stuff. This is all they made all this up just to like get in your head, distract you. All right, guys, take care. Have a good day. I'll talk to you.